Last week on the show, we heard about a new campaign called Look Deeper. The project pairs spoken word artists with musicians, and the organizers want to raise awareness about social justice and do it in a way that connects listeners with their hearts rather than just their heads. Robbie Humble is the communications officer for the Saskatchewan Council for International Cooperation. Here's how she describes the campaign.
From SCIC's perspective, what we really wanted to do with this campaign is inspire people to look at the root causes of global issues. We know that that can feel daunting, but for us, that's where our members work. That's where we work. We work on justice solutions to global issues. So we wanted to be able to connect with people on that human level. And poetry and spoken word is such a great way to do that because it allows people to actually feel something. It's not just thinking. It's not just talking.
Robbie Humble is a communications officer at the Saskatchewan Council for International Cooperation. I spoke to her on last week's show. This morning, we look a little deeper at Look Deeper. Cat Abenstein is one of the poets involved in the project, and she joins me now in studio. Hi, Cat.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for coming in. I wonder, how did you become involved in Look Deeper?
For a couple of years, the campaign that SCIC has sort of been handling, I've inadvertently participated, I guess, in a couple of ways. They've had different video entry submission type competitions. This year, it was really great. I was invited to participate as a mentor participant. So I was able to come in and help the poets who were selected through the submission process to sort of work their pieces a little bit and help them look deeper into their own work. And it's been such an incredible opportunity so far.
When you work as a mentor in that kind of environment, what are some of the examples of things that you did with the newer poets to help their process move along?
So what we do is we try to develop a focus for their piece. So we'll ask, what is your poem speaking to? What point is it that you'd like to get across? When you look through your words, how do you answer those questions? And so it's just really inviting people to think of it in a different light with a different perspective, which always unlocks so much in a piece that you didn't even realize was there.
Well, last week when I spoke with Robbie Humble, I also talked with Brita Lind, who wrote a poem that sort of has been hitting the airwaves already. We wrote a couple of them. And we talked about the challenge of, we're talking about big global issues and social justice and grand ideas, and yet you have to do it in a poem that's going to clock in at less than a minute. How did you cope with that challenge?
I suppose it's sort of just recognizing that, it's less than a minute, but when it comes to being influenced or affected by anything, it's you only need a moment. And so really it's like we have so many moments in this minute that we can reach out and touch and drive home points of cooperation and community and just encourage people to look deeper. This might be what Robbie Humble had touched on in the accessibility of spoken word and just how people are so moved by it.
I wonder for you, as you thought about, being a spoken word artist yourself, writing a poem for this project, how did you choose what issue you were going to tackle in your poem?
I always sort of go to a place of reflection and integrity, or on integrity, sort of, and I'm a firm believer in your actions speaking louder than your words, and being a poet, I really believe that words are the most powerful thing that you have access to. And so the topic that I had chose was sort of looking deeper at ourselves and really trying to think of, why do I believe that? What is causing me to maybe have this prejudice or have this belief for something? And is that what I believe, or is that just what I was told to believe? We always have a choice, and we're very, very strong. And it's sort of, I guess, giving people that permission to be strong by owning your choice.
I know you've brought the poem in this morning. I sure want to hear it. I'm sure our listeners do as well. Can you perform it for us today?
I'd love to.
Great.
We bear witness to millions of stories by the time we can tell our own. We do not question them. What do they teach us? To whom do they belong? Which do we then teach again? Who listens? What if your every thought was tattooed on your skin? You would wear your story. You would be the telling. Greatness will often come from necessity. When unlearning is as important as learning, we must choose the great act. Are you breaking down or building? Are you editing or creating? We are more than what we are told. We are what we choose to tell.
Cat, thank you so much for performing that in studio this morning. I wonder, as you write poems like that and think about ideas like that, how does it change your sense of yourself and your own power and what you can do in the world?
I think it draws this sort of intimacy, I think, with your surroundings or whatever it is that you're trying to work in. Poetry or art, just in general, is such a deep process that I'd like to think that every time I write, it helps me just become a better human and just sort of relate to my community and relearn the importance of accountability again with your words, and just how much I really just bring it back to how much power we have as just individuals and how we can choose to shape our existence, our realities.
Great. So you've had the workshop, you've recorded some poems. What's next for them now?
At this point, they will select the 2 poems that they will air on the radio, and the other pieces will, I believe, be available online at lookdeeper.ca. And we are eagerly awaiting to hear who will have the music laid to their tracks and to hear the final edits. Oh, it's just going to be so fantastic.
Okay, well, good luck getting music laid to your tracks and having your spot make it to the radio waves. It's been lovely to meet you this morning.
Thank you.
Cat Abenstein is a Regina poet, and she's part of a campaign called Look Deeper.